Try what Alex is doing. Tickle your own palm. Almost nothing. Same touch from someone else? Bigger jolt. Here's the everyday hook question. We'll chase the answer. Alex's brain treats self-touch as expected, so it feels muted. External touch stays surprising and stronger, because Alex's brain expects it. Predictable self-touch tends to feel weaker than the same external touch, on average. Swap to the right panel. An off-page fingertip on Alex's palm hits harder. That hint points to predictability as the hidden switch. This predictability test introduces how Alex's self-generated poke, hit on beat, meets a prepared brain and the sensation gets damped. Next, we zoom from action to brain. A forward model predicts Alex's expected touch before it arrives. More on that in a second. Inside the brain, scientists think a forward model copies Alex's motor command, predicts touch in advance, and routes through the cerebellum. That prediction is an efference copy. Your brain's heads up, priming a comparison with incoming sensation. Next, we'll find where Alex's signal gets reduced. Here's the cancel point. In touch areas, predicted self-signals meet the incoming ones, so Alex's self-tickle gets attenuated before it reaches awareness. External touch on Alex lacks that prediction, so subtraction shrinks and the tickle feels stronger. We'll break prediction next to boost it. Bridge to the lab doodle. Add a tiny delay between Alex's move and the tickle usually gets a boost. That mismatch weakens Alex's brain prediction, letting more sensation through. Next, we'll map delay versus ticklish feel, one step at a time. Baseline first, with zero added delay, Alex's self-tickle usually feels muted. Your brain predicted it, so the sensation barely registers. Hold that baseline. Next, we nudge the dial a notch to test whether a tiny delay changes how strong it feels. Now add a tiny delay. Alex's action and touch separate slightly. The ticklish feel is already a bit more noticeable. Let's bump the dial again to see if more delay keeps boosting sensation as prediction error grows further. Increase the delay more, and Alex's reaction grows. The brain's prediction misses further, so more of the sensation makes it through. Great. Now we can summarize that pattern cleanly with a simple rising curve next, so the scaling is obvious. Plot it. As delay increases, Alex's reported ticklishness rises. Studies also find cerebellar activity scaling with that mismatch. That curve answers the feel question. Next, we'll rule out it's just surprise with a quick eyes closed check. With Alex's eyes closed and zero delay, self-tickle stays muted. The brain's cancellation still holds without any vision tricks. But add a small delay and the jolt returns. Prediction breaks, not simply surprise. Next, two kinds of tickle. Quick bridge. Scientists describe lighter, itch-like tickle, and deeper, laughter-provoking tickle. Labs often use gentle demonstrations for clean, comparable touch tests. We'll define both, then focus on the featherlight version next to see how prediction interacts with that specific feel. At Alex's bedside, think nysmasis, light, itch-like touch your brain expects. We'll use this gentle contour as our fair test, defined and simple. Now we'll run self versus external with the same light stroke, so prediction is the only thing changing. When Alex lightly brushes their own foot, the brain's forward prediction is ready, so the gentle feel stays surprisingly small. Hold that muted baseline. Next, we'll apply the exact same light input externally to test whether it feels stronger. Same gentle touch, but external. Alex's brain can't pre-cancel as well, so the sensation lands bigger. Right away, you feel the contrast. That stronger feel matches lab imaging, showing self-responses run lower than matched external input. Next, let's contrast with a firmer poke. Now compare categories. Alex's deeper poke is a different beast from the light, itch-like demo. We'll keep mechanism tests on gentle. That contrast matters because heavier contact recruits other pathways. We return to the brain map next, staying with the lighter case. Inside Alex's brain, predictive attenuation routes through a comparison path. Tactile gating from movement is a separate mechanism, not the same thing. So we'll probe prediction again by introducing a spatial mismatch next. Another way to break the brain's expectation without extra force. Back to the lab doodle. If the contact lands slightly off where Alex aimed, prediction struggles. That offset can boost perceived ticklishness. We'll try a tiny side shift with the same light input, then compare how it feels against the zero offset case. A tiny sideways miss echoes the delay effect. Alex's brain prediction slips, so the same contact feels stronger. That's our anchor idea. Now we nudge the linkage farther to probe scaling. Bigger offset, bigger flinch. Then map the pattern cleanly with arrows next. Make the offset larger, and Alex's jolt grows. Prediction error is bigger when contact lands farther from the intended finger target. Hold here. We'll summarize the rule visually next. Bold arrow to the gap, then a simple rising map of mismatch versus feel. Here's the pattern. More spatial mismatch, more ticklish feel. Paralleling the delay curve your brain hinted at earlier too, Alex. So the map's biggest circle marks the widest miss. Next, can randomness alone rival mismatch without any offset? Alex wiggles unpredictably with zero offset. Despite the chaos, prediction still cancels, and the feel stays small for Alex on average. Route the same motion through the offset module, and the bigger jolt appears. Breaking prediction, not merely surprise. Next, variability. People differ. Alex's friends would show small, medium, or bigger jolts to the same offset. Self-suppression strength varies between individuals. Some can even tickle themselves more than others. But the core rule holds: mismatch boosts feel. Back to the brain pathway. Return to the map inside. Motor signals feed the cerebellum's prediction, then meet touch areas where downweighting can occur for self-generated input. Next, we'll compare self and external side by side, linking reduced touch responses with that prediction center in Alex's brain. Inside Alex's brain, compare panels. Self-touch shows fainter S1, H2 shading. External touch reads stronger. That contrast anchors our question. We'll link this reduced response to the prediction pathway next. The arrow back to the cerebellum that helps downweight self-sensations. Scientists think Alex's motor command copies forward as an efference signal to the cerebellum. That prediction prepares touch areas for subtraction. If prediction drives the reduction, timing changes should matter. Next, we test whether a consistent delay gets learned and mismatch shrinks. With a steady delay, Alex's brain recalibrates. Over repeats, the mismatch curve shrinks and the predicted timing catches up to the touch. Hold that idea. Vary timing and the error returns. But now let's try another twist. External control moving Alex's finger. When a device drives Alex's finger, prediction can be weaker. The same contact often feels more intense than self-driven touch. That demonstration sets up the single rule we've been circling: how to break the brain's subtraction and let sensation through. One rule: your brain predicts self-touch via cerebellum, then subtracts in touch areas. Delay, offset, or external drive break that prediction. Pocket that model. Next, we'll apply it to everyday checks so Alex can feel the difference on common spots. Bridge from brain to body. Apply the rule to hand, foot, and side. Quick checks guided by arrows from the anchor diagram. We'll start with the palm, then the foot, then the side. Watch how tiny offsets change what Alex feels. On Alex's palm, a tiny off-spot touch applies the rule. Prediction misses slightly, so the same contact feels boosted versus self-touch. Great, now repeat the same check at the foot to show the rule travels. Watch how a small offset changes that gentle feel. At Alex's foot, the same gentle touch arrives with a small side offset. Prediction weakens, and the feel jumps compared with self-stroke. Important check, this isn't force, it's prediction. Next, we'll separate gentle from harder pokes to keep the category lines clear. Gentle strokes isolate prediction. Deeper pokes are a different category scientists describe separately. So today's demos stick with light touch for clarity. Now we'll combine a tiny delay with a tiny offset and see whether small mismatches add up to a bigger boosted feel. Stack the tweaks. A tiny delay plus a tiny offset amplifies mismatch, so Alex's brain subtracts less and the feel spikes higher. Hold that result. In steady timing, the brain can learn delays, but varying timing restores mismatch and sensation. With repeated identical delays, Alex's system recalibrates. The prediction catches up, and the mismatch curve shrinks across trials. Change the timing and the error returns. That's your lever for noticing the effect without adding extra force. Pocket rule. Self-touch gets down. Weighted. Break prediction with a small delay, small offset, or external drive, and the feel boosts. Keep this card handy. Next, we'll run rapid myth checks using the rule, then you can try quick checks at home. Apply the pocket rule on ribs. Alex's gentle self-touch stays muted. A tiny off-spot contact boosts the sensation noticeably. Next check. Could Alex simply hold a tool and change the feel? Keep contact aligned first, then add flexible slop. With a rigid, aligned handle, Alex's touch still feels self-made and muted. Prediction holds because the path stays perfectly expected. Add a tiny, flexible joint. That springy lag or side wiggle creates mismatch, and Alex's reaction boosts immediately. Now shuffle delay. Hop the dial between small settings, and Alex's brain can't settle. Prediction error stays high. Reactions appear bigger. Next, we'll stack timing hops with a small spatial tweak to push mismatch higher for Alex's combo peak. Max mismatch. Device drives Alex's finger, a tiny delay is added, and contact lands off-spot. The sensation spikes to its biggest. Because prediction fails on timing, place, and agency, subtraction collapses. Next, we'll recap the pathway so it's not mistaken for movement gating. Path check. Alex's prediction route runs motor to cerebellum to touch areas. Movement-related gating sits separate. Similar vibe, different mechanism. Hold that distinction. Now Alex is ready to phrase the one sentence takeaway you can repeat at dinner tonight. Quick bridge. Alex brain downweights self-touch. Tiny delay, offset, or external drive are simple breakers. One clear line comes next. Keep the compact icon in mind. Alex will deliver the takeaway and a friendly CTA right after the final micro demo. Here's the gist Alex will deliver in a sentence. Your brain predicts self-touch, thins the path, and mismatch boosts feel. Lock it with a tiny demo next. 2 strokes will show baseline versus a tiny delay pop back clearly. Baseline panel first. Alex's self-touch at 0 delay stays muted. Now we'll cement the contrast with a tiny dial added delay. 2 strokes, 2 feels. Baseline small. Add a hair of delay and the jolt returns. Prediction error, not magic. Eyes closed, Alex at 0 delay still feels muted. Surprise isn't enough when the brain already predicted the touch. Now add a small delay. The accent on the dial marks the break. Prediction slips, reaction jumps, and the callback lands. Montage time. Motor to cerebellum to touch areas, surrounded by delay, offset, and device icons. One picture of the whole path. All demos converge. Alex is ready to say the line cleanly. One beat that ties every arrow together. Try it at home. Palm, a springy handle, or a tiny side offset. Add a little mismatch and notice your brain's difference. Hold the final line for a second. Alex will say it after this quick notice test at home. Spotlight on the core icon. Self-path thins, red arrow points forward. Breathe once before the answer lands. We've cleared noise and set the stage. Next sense delivers the takeaway, then a light sign-off for you. Alex's one-line answer. Your brain predicts self-touch in the cerebellum, subtracts it in touch areas. Add delay, offset, or device, feel returns. That compact rule explains every demo. Now a gentle sign-off and invite so you can notice it on yourself. Try a tiny delay or side offset on your palm today. Comment what you noticed, then follow Alex for more simple brain doodles. Thanks for watching. Keep the compact rule handy and notice your brain at work. More quick curiosity checks coming next week.